Plants vs Zombies 2, a game I can't get enough of. So I've decided to attempt being Plants vs Zombies 2 only using fire plants.
Help out, get ready, get the 10K, man. Subscribe.
Hold on, before we start, let's talk about some of the basic rules already in place for this challenge. So the rules that we're going to follow throughout this whole series: rule number 1, no leveling up any plants whatsoever except for the level 2 mandatory pea shooter at the start of the game. But other than that, we're completely fine. Rule number 2, no power-ups are allowed. Last but not least, you can only use fire plants throughout the series. If you're not a fire-breathing dragon, you will not be on my team. And just because I hate myself, we also won't be using sunflowers. Were you all caught up now? Let's get straight to it. Welcome to the far future. Usually we'd hit it off with purchasing some new plants, but this time we're just gonna hop in with plants we already have. So starting with day 1. Day 1, we are introduced to new tiles that once we use the plant food, as you can see, they make other plants use the plant food too, which is really cool. But we start off the level with some pea shooters that obviously we're not allowed to use because they're not fire pea shooters. We take them down, and with an influx of sun, over 200, I place down a fire pea and it's in the wrong position. But we eventually save up just enough to place one on the top row, and with the zombies deciding to beautifully come out on the rows that I only have plants on, sun was not a worry for right now. But we were quickly introduced to a new zombie coming from the far future, a jetpack zombie that once in a while flies over the plant when they see them, but wasn't really much trouble. And with a beautiful peppermint boosting the fire plants, shooting even stronger peas out, causing crazy damage, it was quite easy. But it's a day 1, there's nothing too crazy. Took out one of my lawnmowers because I didn't really have any sun to place down anything to protect, but it's a day 1, I wasn't too worried. On to day 2. Day 2 was quite a unique level because look, there's triangles now, and there wasn't much too eventful in day 2. We had a couple of triangles, a couple of X's, the typical stuff. I thought they might have a different power by maybe sun or something like that, but no, it's just another different tile for plant food. I let the cone head get quite far and then placed down a free peppermint that boosts fire plants too, so it was quite unique. And then this mech zombie came out. I thought I was in a bit of trouble, but I kind of just waited till he got quite deep, placed down a wasabi whip, and then powered him up, which just destroyed everybody behind him, which they try to do something, you know. With the final wave, I thought it would be hard, but there's nothing that peppermint couldn't solve, eliminating all 5 of the rows, pushing us straight on to day 5 with not much hassle, being the first 2 days being nice and easy. Really feeling the fire pea shooter for the first 2 levels of fire future. I decided, hey, let's go back to our roots and show the Inferno some love. And yeah, they did their thing. Quite an expensive plant being 200 sun. We did have to take a while to save up with them, and with the far future, I felt the sun drop from the sky, whatever you want to call it, the natural sun, was just quite slow. So I kind of let the build up after a while, and then just to clean everything up, we dealt with all the zombies that weren't in our lane that I had a plant with a peppermint, because the peppermint is crazy. And once I eventually had all the lanes with at least one Inferno, I mean, it was barbecue sauce from there. It was really easy. And yeah, there's nothing else to say. It's day 3 of a far future. The world, it's not too difficult. Yeah, that's just moving us to day 4. Day 4 tried to be different, where as you can see, there was purple sun that explosions can damage plants and zombies. So we had to be careful, but they were coming down at a much quicker rate, which was really good because, you know, more sun for more flowers. Yeah, and as you can see, yeah, the extra sun went a bit crazy with 2 full rows of plants, a full row of Infernos, and a full row of wasabi whips. So if any zombies came near, they would just get absolutely whipped, and I absolutely flew through day 4. Sending us to day 5. 5 was really colorful with a lot of new, just different pattern tiles that have special abilities that will give us extra plant foods for free. And we instantly got set up with a plant food from the first zombie being destroyed by a wasabi whip. After this, we instantly got a lot more wasabi whips, having a whole row of wasabi whips ready for the onslaught that was about to commence. Then this cone mech come out. I put down an Inferno just to keep it back because I knew damn well that the wasabi whip just couldn't handle it. I made the Inferno even struggled to defeat it, but we eventually got it done because it just kept pushing it back over and over and over again. And then we eventually pushed through day 5 without much trouble. You know, it's going quite well so far in the far future world. So with that, we push on to day 6. Day 6 was the first world that imposes pre-selected plants that we just couldn't beat because look, there's no fire plants, and we just couldn't beat it without using the plants given. So we move on to day 7, a day that can only be done with fire plants. Well, day 7 being a level where I had basically all the tiles that even interested you at all, but anyways, didn't really make a difference. There was nothing really unique. I put down a couple of blaze leaves, put down a couple of infernos, and just flew through the level. Nothing really too crazy. I don't want to put too much filler levels here, so let's move on to day 8. Well, talking about filler levels, day 8 was a conveyor level. Yeah, let's just go to day 9. Day 9 had a bit of an interesting gimmick, which didn't really affect me through this play, but interesting to have a couple of gimmicks to freshen up the gameplay, to say. And we couldn't lose 15 plants, which, yeah, was pretty cool. And the beautiful placement of these 2 yellow power tiles was normally where I always put my blaze leaves anyways, so when I did use a plant food, I showed, they went insane, doing 2 insanely damaging blaze leaf superpowers, which was unbelievable. And with them just pushing out a lot of zombies, I used the Inferno special abilities just to bring them all down into like the 2nd lane as well as the 4th lane, which just kind of rounded them all up to make it easier for the blaze leaves to work with, even though it would have been more optimal to bring it into the middle. But there's nothing I can do now about that. The final boss wave, well, I thought would be a challenge. The Infernos absolutely did their things, going through all of the force fields that the mech zombies set up, and them just bringing back and absolutely destroying buggerheads and the conehead zombies, pushing us to day 10. Day 10 had literally nothing of importance except for these disco zombies. They were really cool, and they actually brought down 4 zombies quite frequently, kind of like the OG dance from the original game. If you remember, that was really cool. I just thought that was a nice reference. Anyways, we can just move on to day 11 because there's nothing really here to be of interest. Day 11 was a day where it was a plan your defense, and I went quite crazy with the Infernos as well as the Meteor Flowers, just having 2 full rows of both of these plants. And just because I had extra sun, I put down some vine plants around them just to kill some of the zombies if they get a bit too close. But we absolutely flew through because, yeah, you already know yourself that these plants are insane. Pushing us to day 12. Day 12, I really just made a name for myself, starting off with some blaze leaves and eventually developing from blaze leaves on row 2 and row 4. We eventually got some wasabi whips just to pick them off, and just because I like symmetry. We should all know this by now. And this level was really symmetry based, and eventually the Gigantuars start coming out and I really pushed some pressure. I put down an Inferno just to deal with it and just to kind of speed through this level. And then more Gigantuars came out, imp ones, which was insane, and they were just shooting missiles at other zombies and plants. It was quite hectic, and I totally forgot these zombies even existed in the far future, so it kind of caught me off guard, but we actually dealt with it quite well, and I was quite happy how I dealt with it. And yeah, it wasn't really a difficult level overall, just kind of surprising. So yeah, we kind of pushed through it, pushing us to day 13. Day 13 was quite a nice level overall, quite easy. No new zombies coming out just yet, and we don't have all the time in the world, so I kind of want to skip out on some of the fillers. So day 13, as you can see, I completed it only using fire plants, as well as day 14, also being another nice easy level that we kind of just flowed onto, and was, matter of fact, it was even kind of forgettable. I did have a sun limit on it, but that didn't really matter because we didn't really need that much plants to beat it. In this playthrough, kind of flew through, so let's just go through those nice and easily, pushing us day 15. Day 15 had a unique challenge and a gimmick where that we had 3 citrons placed 3 tiles away from where the zombies spawned, and I actually was quite nervous, especially with the rate that the zombies were coming out with a lot of cone heads as well. I was like, oh, I'm cooked, but they perfectly timed it so where they came out they died. But then I ended up spending my sun on a blaze leaf at the front, and I couldn't deal with the zombies coming down the top row and the bottom row, so it was really hectic already. But thankfully the sun was coming out at a beautiful rate where I could put down a blaze leaf on the top row on the blue tile before the zombies could reach the end of the lane and activate the lawnmowers. So it was really, but the game decided to make it a lot harder for me, and it put out 3 cone mech zombies, which I was like, hell no, and I just decided to use blaze leaf plant food, and it just didn't work. But it did just enough damage for the Citron to eliminate them fully, which I was really happy about. And then they sent out some cone head zombies after it, trying to clean up and damage my Citrons, but they didn't do nothing. After this, the final wave wasn't really much because I ended up just using 3 blaze leaf plant food abilities, and it absolutely violated all the mechs that came out. And quickly sending us to day 16. At day 15, it was actually a nice and challenging level overall, and being one of the better levels that we've done so far. There's nothing like some conveyor levels that give us no fire plants at all, so we can't even beat this. So with that, day 17, and even day 17 couldn't be done with fire plants because it gave us 0 fire plants. It expected us to beat the level with this stupid plant that costs sun to attack, which was really annoying. But you know what? It's a cool gimmick halfway through, more than halfway through the level. With the last 10 levels being done, 3 out of 10. Stinker. Anyways, day 18. Day 18, we actually had to use sunflowers, so it doesn't count as fire plants. So another day we cannot beat due to us having the need to produce 6,000 sun, which, yeah, it's not fire. I know a lot of you saying it's the sun, you know, it's a big ball of fire. No, we're not counting it. So yeah, but for this gimmick level, we are counting it due to that reason, if that makes sense. Anyways, day 19. Day 19, we had the purple sun again that falls from the sky that damages both plants and zombies, if you remember from earlier in the video. And it actually came down at such a beautiful rate. I was kind of greedy trying to switch up the type of layout that I had, putting blaze leaves not on the second and fourth row, which I always do just to save sun. And yeah, I eventually ended up doing it still and put infernos. We flew through the level. There's not too much to document because yeah, we just flew through and it was absolutely insane with the rate of sun that just fell from the sky in these levels. I tried to cause some damage by exploding the sun to see if it damaged the zombies. It didn't in my experience. Maybe I have to wait till it's closer to the floor, maybe. But with that, it kind of was a nice level. I put down a peppermint to boost the damage that the plants were doing. And yeah, the Gargantua Imp Zombies hybrid metal thing was the only thing that really damaged us. And yeah, it was quite a nice level. Happy with it. Put down a meteor flower, trying to deal with them and do as well. But wasn't fast enough. And yeah, day 20 en route. Day 20 was another level where we had endangered plants. And I was like, oh, we're cooked, because it was a full lane of just plants that were endangered, obviously. And yeah, they just did hella damage, and I was like, okay, maybe there's a chance. And I didn't really know what's the best mode of operation to do this, so I put down a whole lane of infernos behind them, which turned out to be a bad decision, as a boss storm quickly let me know that yeah, I was cooked and I didn't really know what to do. But luckily I had some lawnmowers and I just kind of put down some and prayed that the plant food would do its thing. It did its thing, and I did end up losing a lot and all of my lawnmowers, which let me know that I should probably not do this again. But we somehow made it through, which was absolutely amazing. And yeah, with the final peppermint to blaze our way through and upgrade all of our plants, we absolutely violated the final wave, pushing us to day 21 without much hustle. Day 21, we needed sunflower again because we needed to produce a certain amount of plants. Okay, it doesn't count. It's a sunflower. It's yet another level that is impossible to do only using fire plants. And the sunflower doesn't count again, guys, okay? It doesn't count. Day 22. Day 22 is a plan your defense level. You already know how this goes. We flew through it. Day 23. Day 23 was a unique level where I thought that we needed to produce a certain amount of sun, but it actually was you can't spend a certain amount of sun, which actually was fine with me because there's no blaze leaf can't do. And yeah, there's actually truly not much to say. We went crazy with all of the fire peas in the back trying to spice it up. I have some new, and it's all kind of been quite easy. The far future hasn't really been as hard as some of the other one. Like the frostbite caves did give me a lot more hassle, and even the lost city were a lot more hassle. I just feel like the far future will kind of just fly into it a bit too easy, or maybe I'm just getting too good at the game. It's definitely not that second one. Anyways, day 24. Day 24 included the purple sun again, which I was really happy about because you know what that means? A lot of sun, which means that we could put down a lot of plants. There was no plant limit, so we were going crazy. I was going to switch it up. I didn't really use the fire pea in a while, so I decided, hey, let's put down loads of fire peas. And this all-star robot guy that actually came into the world roughly around day 14, if I'm correct. It came true and it caused a bit of hassle, but it is nothing plant food can't fix, and we absolutely burned our way through this level. It was insane, and it was actually quite a fun level to do because it was just a lot happening and I enjoyed it a lot. And yeah, there's nothing else really to say. We flew through this one, being a lot easier than like the lost city and stuff like that. And do y'all feel like that too, or is that just me that I kind of felt this was easier than the past two levels, especially frostbite caves? That one has been the hardest world so far, which you wouldn't think because it's fire and the world's ice, you know, makes sense. But anyways, day 25. Day 25, the boss battle. And as you can see, obviously we can't do this with fire only. I think there's only been one boss that we can actually be only using fire only. But this is one of the cooler zombie boss like mech designs, which I was really happy with. And yeah, it was really cool that we could place down the tiles too. It's really cool overall. There's a lot of cool things happening, but there's not too much to say because we can't beat it with a fire plant. Maybe if they gave us one, I could attempt like I did in other worlds, but they didn't give us any. It was a fun boss battle overall, and it led us to the dark ages. I know a lot of you are excited and kind of figuring out how I'll do, as well as modern day. I know a lot of people are seeing how I do it. I have a game plan, but for right now, If you haven't watched the last episode, the video on the left will take you to watch the last city. And if you want to keep up to date on the playlist and watch the whole series so far, click on the playlist on the right. And I'll see you in the next one.